thanks for tuning in. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about long-term food storage. As most of you know, I am constantly on the go, and I wanted to find a way that I didn't have to rotate my food so often, and Wallaby Goods helped me do just that. And I actually am so grateful to them because they sent me these great Mylar bags that they produce. They have so many different options. It works by keeping out the three things that cause food to mold. Those three things are light, moisture, and oxygen. So what a Mylar bag does, it actually blocks all those three things out so that you can protect and keep the shelf life of your food as long as possible. If you haven't heard of Mylar bagging before, you are missing out, because this is a great way to actually keep your food in your stocks for long term without having to rotate your food as often. Dry goods, if Mylar bagged properly and kept in proper conditions, can last decades and still be edible. So I really wanted to make sure that I invested, and especially since prepping can become somewhat expensive, especially if you have a large family. So I wanted to make sure that my investment wasn't going to waste, and since I'm constantly gone, I don't want to have to worry about expiration dates, rotation dates, and Wallaby Goods really has helped me do that with their Mylar bags. I have tried other Mylar bags before, but they don't hold up as well, especially since I'm constantly moving and the things in the bus are constantly shifting. So I wanted to make sure that the packaging was going to outlast the mini earthquakes that constantly happen in this bus. So for this video, I actually partnered up with Wallaby Goods. They offer so many different options for long-term food storage and Mylar bagging, and I am so excited to be partnering with them, and we're going to be hearing more about them later in the video, but for now, let's get to bagging. So we're only going to package a few items today because we don't have a lot of space, but we do have a few Mylar bags here, as well as some labels and their oxygen absorbers that we'll need to put in the packages. And I actually do own my own label maker because I used to purchase a different brand that did not come with the labels, which the Wallaby Mylar bags do. So if you don't have a label maker, you can definitely use these, and they come in so handy. You can pretty much use them for anything. I'm going to hold on to these and use them for another project. I don't know if you guys are as anal about your preps as I am, but I know that having these labels is going to be absolutely amazing, just to know exactly what's in the package, when you packaged it, and when it may be best by. And the other thing I have here is a heat sealer. If you don't have a heat sealer, you can purchase them on Amazon. I'll put a link to all these items down in the description box, but you don't have to purchase a heat sealer if you don't want to. You can also just use, for you ladies out there, you can use your flat iron for your hair, and you can also use an iron, of course, to iron this closed. So as long as it's hot and it's hot enough to heat the 5 mil of thickness, then you should be good. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is actually place the beans inside of the Mylar bag. Next, we'll drop in the oxygen absorbers. That is going to remove all of the oxygen out of the bag once it's sealed. Next, you want to seal the bag. So I like to fold it down to the size that I am going to package it in, and then seal it right at the seam. And I always like to check it and make sure that the seal is nice and tight. Sometimes I do it twice. And then, now that it's actually sealed, I do a couple of more seals down further to bring it down. And so now that it's nice and sealed and all of this is extra packaging, I can just cut it right at the seam, and you still have a whole other half to store something else. In our attempt to Mylar another bag of beans, we had a little accident. So now that they're all labeled and ready to go, they can get placed into our containers. And I normally put the amount of weight that there is in each bag, but I pretty much stick to 1 to 2 pounds of beans when I stock these things. So just because they're easier to manage and easier to cook, and you don't have to manage a big bag. And if anything, you can just use half of this for a few days and reseal when you need it. Another item that I wanted to Mylar bag today is some sugar. As you can see, the packaging it comes in can very easily be torn, and I definitely want to protect sugar as much as possible because sugar honestly pretty much never goes bad. It may get hard, but it does not go bad. So I want to get it out of here. I also don't want any pests or anything getting into the sugar itself, being now that it's torn open, and the Mylar bag is going to protect it from that. So let's seal it up. I'm not even going to take it out of the packaging itself. I'm just going to place it inside as is, and just put it inside, seal it up. So I just somewhat like to, get it together in a bundle and a package so it's not as bulky. At the top, I just kind of fold it, just kind of like if I'm gift wrapping, and then just heat seal it at the end. But, I mean, you can do it however you want. This is just how I do it to make it less bulky. And then I just trim off the excess and let it just sit all sealed up. I can also tape it down if I like to. On the other side, I can just, take the little tabs and fold them down, kind of like a milk carton or something like that, or kind of like a coffee bag, so you're kind of essentially just recreating that seal. I don't put oxygen absorbers in these, just like you probably noticed that, but that's because, as you can see, the sugar gets hard all on its own, and if you put an oxygen absorber in there, it is going to be a brick when you need to use it, and you're going to have to chisel that thing apart. So either way, I mean, it'll still be good, but it's fine just as is, as long as there isn't very much air in there at all, which there isn't. And I am very happy with the fact that I won't lose the sugar now that the package was torn. But this is how I seal the sugar itself. Let's get some finished packages going and get them stored. I actually can't seem to find my glue gun, so I used a glue gun stick with a lighter and then just, glue these on the side. And we're going to put more glue in here on the side and then make sure it's all stuck on there. And here's the sugar all packaged. And as you can see, practice makes perfect, so you can, see where mistakes are made, and you just kind of learn as you go. But I do like to keep these around to make sure that I can store things long term. One of the questions I get a lot is, why would you repackage food that's already been packaged from the store? But it is not just being repackaged, it is being completely sealed, and it is going to be packaged for long-term storage. Now, most things only have a shelf life of a couple of years. When foods are exposed to light, moisture, or oxygen, that's when they begin to decay and expire. So the Mylar bags protect the food itself from all of those three things. So you could essentially store these items indefinitely. Sugar and honey has been known to still be good decades later, and as well as the other dry goods. Now, these bags are made by our sponsor, Wallaby. These bags are amazing at keeping the moisture, oxygen, and light out of the packaging so that the food has the longest shelf life possible. You won't need to recycle your food as often. You won't need to rotate your food as often. And honestly, once you've prepared and packaged all of your meals and everything is ready to go, it will last indefinitely. And once again, I want to thank our sponsor, Wallaby, for sponsoring these Mylar bags. I am so happy with their Mylar bags. They are so strong and sturdy, and I love the finished look. I think that it puts a good uniform on all of your food. And of course, the primary purpose of it is that it actually be edible when you need it. So if you're interested in purchasing these Mylar bags, make sure that you check out Wallaby. I put the link down in the description. They are an official sponsor for the Femme Prepper channel, so we want to welcome them and thank them. And of course, definitely check out their products. I've checked out their website, and they have so many other great products that you can use. Now, if you're preparing for a large family, it is really important that you use your resources wisely. I would rather invest a few dollars in sealing my food indefinitely and making sure that things are not going to expire as much as possible. And I'm truly glad that I invested into a heat sealer, especially now that Wallaby Goods has sent me these amazing Mylar bags. So I really want to thank Wallaby once again for sending these bags to me, because they are a heaven sent. So make sure you check them out on social media and on their website for all their amazing products, and click the link down below in the description to get a discount at your checkout cart. So make sure that you subscribe so I can see you in the next video. All right, guys, let's get to prepping.